unnatural and so unhealthy, honestly, for us to live in these like enclosed boxes and spend all of our time in these enclosed boxes. I'm talking about our houses. We need to be outside like way more, connecting with nature way more, and doing meaningful work. And I don't mean like a job, I mean like literally earning my own survival is like how I feel. And like maybe people will think that sounds too extreme, but like literally humans are all animals are supposed to be earning their own survival. And right now I'm not doing that, and it's causing me a lot of anxiety. I'm literally like so anxious about the fact that so much of my life is not earned. I mean, we have to do things on a daily basis that preserve our lives, but not like our ancestors did. And I'm not saying I want to live like a super hard life where like it's not guaranteed whether or not I will survive another day. I don't want to live like that extreme. I just want to live a life where I feel like I'm earning my survival. Does that make sense? I want to learn to grow and farm my own food and rely way less on bigger systems. I feel like I'm pre-gaming for therapy talking to this phone right now. I guess I kind of am. I have a lot to talk about in therapy today. I always have a lot to talk about in therapy, but I just never know like what should I focus on. Literally, I'm thinking about everything I could possibly think about inside my brain all day, every day, and I have a lot I could talk about in therapy. So then as soon as I get to therapy every week, I'm like, okay, what I want to talk about? Literally everything. And I have 50 minutes to talk about it. Like, what can I accomplish in 50 minutes? There's a lifetime worth of thoughts in my head. All right, here I go. Oh my God. I got my suet. That lady was so nice. And she even gave me a bag of bones. Maybe it's just because I just had therapy too. I don't know. I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling lighter than I did yesterday for sure. Yesterday I was feeling heavy and dark and stressed and anxious and not good. And now I'm feeling quite a bit lighter and generally more positive. And yeah, that was on my to-do list for like a month. So there's just a sense of relief, accomplishment that I finally synced up with this woman and got some suet. I love feeling good. I have spent so much of my life not feeling good, and I don't even feel good all the time now. But just in the last month or so, I just generally feel pretty good a lot of the time, mentally, emotionally, which is just new for me as someone who has struggled so much with anxiety and depression, like literally my whole life. And especially in my adolescence and young adulthood. I have been thinking a lot lately about things I wish I had known / considered more thoroughly before I had kids. I'll start off by saying I love being a mom. Overall, I have great kids. I love my family. I have a lot of complaints, but not necessarily rightfully so. I have a great life, great kids. I get to be a full-time stay-at-home mom, so I have a lot of freedom. That's not to say that being a parent doesn't come with many challenges, especially if you have, like, say, especially strong-willed and emotional children like I do. It's very challenging. But what's the most challenging, I think, is that in America, the cultural norms really set parents up for failure. And what I mean by that is that basically parenting norms and standards in America are garbage for so many reasons, and mostly I will say that they are really, really heavily influenced by consumerism. And what I mean by by that is that in America, it's very normal to outsource our parenting to devices, gadgets, toys, services, etc. And many parents in America can attest to the fact that community is scarce. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation around like paid maternity leave and stuff like that, but I really think it is way bigger of an issue than just not having paid maternity leave for moms, because ultimately, and this is just my philosophical belief, child rearing should be done by mothers.
Police reported in the van, dude.
I don't think it is ideal to have your children raised by someone else, and this is not shade. The thing is, most parents, most households cannot afford to have one parent stay home and raise the children. So this is not me saying, oh, people who are working parents like are neglecting their kids. I'm not saying that. Obviously, this is generally a matter of necessity that mothers go back to work. I'm very fortunate that I have been able to be a full-time parent, and being a full-time parent is effing hard. I'm not saying like it's such a luxurious life, but relatively it's a very luxurious life, even though it is so effing hard. Anyway, so there are just like large-scale systemic issues for parents in America. So some are systemic issues and some are cultural issues. I will say lack of community is massive. I think most parents, not all, sure there are plenty of exceptions, but most parents can probably attest to the fact that like not only is it hard to find a community of say other mothers, other parents, other families who you align with or who provide like a mutually supportive relationship for you. That's just really hard to find. But also the cultural norm in America is not to have like a village. I mean, literally this is not a novel concept. This has been talked about a lot, but the old phrase that says it takes a village, it literally does. It literally does take a village for so many reasons, and not even just for raising children, but literally just to have like a balanced, thriving community. That's a bigger conversation. But in terms of parenting, a village is so essential, and most people don't have it, including myself. This is like bullet point number 1. Wish I had considered more thoroughly, planned for when I was first thinking about becoming a parent. It wouldn't have changed my decision to become a parent. It's been the best decision I've ever made for myself, was to become a parent. But it is so incredibly challenging, exhausting, and unsustainable to be like isolated as a parent. You really need community, you need support, you need not even just support and community, but people to glean experience from and stuff like that. Like, it's really hard to just like figure it out on your own and have no support and just kind of like be like stranded on an island while trying to figure out parenting. And I've really found myself there. For most of my parenting career thus far, it's only been within like literally the last 6 months that I started like building a solid community. And having that community, I will say, does not provide the amount of support that I feel I need, but it's huge. Just even for like morale and emotional support is there for sure. Other kinds of support, like, definitely not. But basically, we don't have any parents that live in the area, so we don't have any like grandparent support for our children. And I do have a couple of siblings, but one of my siblings has 5 of her own children, 3 of which are still under 6 years old, and my other sister just is busy and definitely will help when she's able to. But yeah, it's just really hard and definitely feels unsustainable and bleak at times, having absolutely no support. Just having to like spread myself so thin and being pulled in so many different directions all day, every day, endlessly, and having absolutely no reprieve or any like real time for myself. It's been like a recent development that I've been like going to therapy and having like a little window of time, literally a very short window of time for myself once a week. And the whole window of time for myself is mostly taken up by commuting, going to therapy, and then commuting back to pick up my kids. So anyway, this is getting long-winded, but I'll say my first bullet point is to consider what you need is in terms of community. I wish I had understood that more thoroughly, and just how extensively it impacts you to have no support as a parent. It depends on what kind of person you are. For me, it's barely manageable at times. Sometimes I can manage it just fine, but it's hard to manage. What else? This is a big one for me. It has been really challenging instilling good values in my kids. As an American parent, one of our biggest values in America is individuality, freedom to choose, having what you want when you want it. Capitalistic model, instant gratification is huge. It's becoming like a dying value or skill for people to be able to work for things, have patience, set goals, that kind of stuff. When I first had my daughter, I just I didn't think about it. Like, I think when you have a kid, especially when you have only one, it's very easy and fun to want to kind of like spoil your kid to some extent. I didn't spoil my daughter, but I started bad habits with her by, like, say when we go to the grocery store, I would just let her buy a little something, like get some little thing, like or a treat or something. Oh my god, I hate even talking about this because now I look back, I'm like, what the were you thinking? But I just literally didn't think about the broader implications of forming these negative habits so young for her. Not just that, like, okay, it's a waste of money and it's just like accumulation of stuff. I would say it breeds entitlement and also does not foster a sense of gratitude in children to just kind of have what they want whenever, and not really shown the concept of like having to work for something or earn something. I know that sounds kind of like extreme for like little kids, toddlers, and I'm not trying to say you have to make them earn stuff, but I think there has to be an example set that, like, when we get something special, it's because it's a special occasion or because we earned it, and not just like a all the time whenever you want it thing. I think it's really common for especially young parents to not want to fight with their kids in public, and I don't want to fight with my kids in public either, but I think when you don't ever set those standards for your kids like that they can just like get something whenever you go to the store, hopefully you don't even really have to have those fights with your kids. I mean, I think it's inevitable that kids will see something they're enticed by at the store because that's strategic on the part of the store. They put things where kids can see them that are interesting to kids that kids will beg their parents for. That's another thing I just want to like shift for my kids, is just help them to like value things. And we're getting closer and closer and closer the more I've been like backtracking this over the last like year or so. And just really emphasizing gratitude and appreciating that things cost money and they come from somewhere, and that we just can't like just literally collect stuff because we have to manage that stuff. We're getting somewhere, but literally my daughter's 5 and my son's like almost 4, so I don't really expect them to like fully grasp these concepts, but I want to model it, talk about it, emphasize it. It's not a new concept to them in like a few years, like that they've heard about since they were really small. So that's my goal. And of course, like I said, just set that example myself of not just over consuming or not allowing them to over consume. Hopefully just encourage them to appreciate their stuff. It's really hard to combat these things living in a society that really pushes this stuff on kids. Literally, like almost any kind of store you go to, there is something for children placed strategically where children can see it and will want to have it. It's something that parents have to be really diligent and consistent about, and it's hard, it's work. So that's another thing, trying to just like foster gratitude in my children so they will not become like entitled, over consuming greed monsters when they're older. I'm home right now instead of going to therapy because my therapist is on vacation and I had already paid for childcare, so I have this weird like gap, quiet and empty, but my house is also a mess, so I kind of need to do something about this. There's a lot of things honestly I could be getting done with this time, but there's just like literally not enough time. Especially since becoming a parent, I find it's mind-blowing how quickly time goes by and how little you can accomplish in like several hours when you only have like brief periods of a time alone. I try to get dinner started so when I go pick up my kids later at like 4:30, I won't have to rush home and get dinner done. I'm hoping if I can get this started. My goal is to go get a couple things done really quick while they're at their daycare, but like literally, like what can I get done? Slow cook some chicken thighs with some rice or something. I already cleaned up my kitchen, did the dishes today, and now it like literally looks like this again. Oh, come on, dude. It's like I just cannot keep up with it. I think I'm so good at speed cleaning because I might be able to get a little bit done here and then still go to the grocery store. We'll see. This is my son's favorite activity. He just loves to spill out the Uno cards all over the couch. and the floor. I should not be effing doing this because I don't have time. I really just gotta go back out. I hate when my house is a mess, and I mean, it's a mess like literally 99% of the time. Like, damn, I want to clean my house. Just can't get on top of it. I mean, look, Lord knows, like, I could be more productive at home. I wouldn't have even come home if I hadn't remembered that I didn't start that chicken, which I'm trying to slow cook, so it kind of has to be started ASAP. I need to get some out of the house stuff done because I really struggle to get out of the house and do like out of the house errands with my kids because it's exhausting and it's much more work. So I should be doing that stuff right now, but here I am. Back to my conversation about parenting challenges. Another thing I just like did not think about or even understand was that giving your kids too much choice is detrimental for so many reasons. A few that come to mind are that having too many choices is overwhelming. Anyone out there who are adults, please tell me if you as an adult feel like there are too many choices out there for anything. Literally any given decision you have to make, the amount of options is endless and it's so overwhelming and exhausting. I get decision fatigue all the time. So just imagine being a little child and having to like make decisions about things all the time. Like giving your children that responsibility is honestly pretty harmful, I think. The more you give them the responsibility of making their own decisions, the more they want to make their own decisions because they don't want to be told what to do. So once they know they can decide, they want to decide. But like jumping off of that, I think it discourages respect for the parent from the child because they don't look to you to make decisions. They want to be in control over everything, and if you try to take control, then they resent you. Some of y'all out there might be thinking, it's not that serious. I think it's that serious, but it also depends on your child's temperament. When you allow for your children to have too much autonomy and choice, they'll become entitled. At least that's my experience. I'm not saying that, like I said, it depends on the temperament of your child, but for my kids, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile. It's not like I feel like you should never let your kids have any say in anything or have any choice at all. It's just that if that is the standard for them, that they get to decide for everything, when it comes time for you to put your foot down, then they'll give you pushback on everything. Both my kids really give me pushback on like everything, and I've been working so hard to reverse this, but it's taking a lot of consistency on my part because I was so in the habit. I don't like making decisions, so every time something needs to be decided, especially about meals, but other things too, like what should we do today? I'm asking the kids, what do you want to do today? When it comes time for meal, what do you want for breakfast? What do you want for dinner? It's totally unsustainable because if they get to request every meal, it creates so much work for me. If I'm deciding what we're eating, it makes things so much easier. But then they have to learn to accept what I've chosen. And this is like my big project right now. I have to find a way to get them to understand that I am the one in charge. And honestly, if they can learn to appreciate that because they don't have to make so many decisions. When you don't have like support from people around you to maintain your standards for parenting or whatever, just your values and your philosophy for parenting, and the culture doesn't support it, it just makes it so much work. It is so much work to counteract that. The things that you don't think are going to be a big deal will actually have a pretty massive impact on how your child is developing and adjusting to the world. I don't know if this has been very eloquent, but I hope it resonates with some people. I think that like everybody who's a parent generally wants to be a good parent and wants to raise their kids well, but like we're just not given the tools, and a lot of like the norms for parenting in America especially are so toxic. I think there's a fine line between gentle parenting and like maybe like compassionate parenting. I think compassionate parenting is wonderful. Of course, you need to be compassionate toward your kid. Understand that your child is a person with their own psychological experience and not treat them like, a problem all the time or, dehumanize them or anything like that. Compassionate parenting, I fully support. Gentle parenting, I feel like ends up just going way too far in the wrong direction of like giving your kids way too much, say, responsibility, the wrong kind of responsibility. Like I said, like raising themselves almost. You're handing everything over to your kid, like instead of being the person who's guiding them and giving them a solid foundation to explore themselves. yeah, I think gentle parenting is like pretty toxic actually, but there's some elements that are positive, but definitely can go too far. Basically, being a parent in America in this modern era is very challenging. For all my fellow parents out there, in whatever circumstance you're in, full-time parent, full-time working parent, part-time working parent, divorced parent, part-time parent, single parent, whatever it is, it's hard out there, so I feel for y'all. Yeah, I hope that this can open up an interesting discussion. I would love to talk to other parents about these concepts and what y'all think about parenting in the modern era and parenting in like a highly consumeristic, capitalistic society. The pressure that puts on parents to deliver a certain quality of life for their kids, which I think is total bullshit. I think kids need less, way less. I mean, even if you think about it, even just as far as like toys and belongings and stuff, like that is oppressive. Like, tell me you do not feel overwhelmed when you have just so much stuff to manage. Managing stuff is soul sucking. It's exhausting and it's overwhelming. My kids are really young, but I've still thought so many times like, wow, I really f***ed up a lot already. I actually have like a miniature crisis about that all the time. Like, if I can turn things around and improve things, I really do think you can change things anytime. And it takes a lot of work, but all it takes is consistency and boundaries. So like, even if say like you decided you're going to change your mind about something you allow your kids to do, or a dynamic that you have with your kids that you want to shift, as long as you talk to your kid earnestly and just say like, I used to think that was okay, but I changed my mind, so we're going to do things different now. Things like that. I mean, you just have to like talk to your kids about it and just be real with them. Be like, you know, I changed my mind about this. I learned new information that made me see things differently, and now I want to do things different. It might help you too, just to feel like justified in making changes, because I know from experience that your kids can really make you second guess yourself sometimes. When they start giving you pushback, sometimes you're like, oh, am I being too strict? Am I being too harsh? Should I ease up on this? Like, don't need to take this so seriously. It's very easy to get worn down by your kids. I think it's so important for parents to really assert that they're in charge, not in a authoritarian way, not in like an aggressive way, but like really honestly in more of a like dependable, reassuring way, like to let your kids know like you are in charge, you're gonna make the best decisions for them, and they can trust you. Literally, I don't feel like my kids trust me or respect me because for so long I didn't make it clear to them that I was going to make the decisions and I was going to make the right decisions for them. I let them make too many decisions, and now they're like, they think they can make better decisions than me. I think parents should really be thinking critically about this stuff, the long-term impact of how they interact with their kids, the dynamics they have with their kids. I'm a relatively inexperienced parent. I have, only 5 years in the game. But I've learned a lot, and I'm always learning, and I'm trying to improve all the time on how I'm doing things as a parent. Going into parenthood, I felt like I had a pretty good perspective. I thought I had like a good head on my shoulders as a parent, but I've made so many rookie mistakes as a parent, despite feeling like I was pretty informed going into it. It's never too late to learn new methods and change things and improve things, and kids are really resilient and adaptable. Kids can adapt very easily. They may not want to. No one really likes to change, but have faith in your kids and have faith in yourself. If you feel like you're in like a negative dynamic with your kids, it can be changed. It just takes a lot of diligence and consistency. Let me know if y'all agree, disagree, but please, no hate. Because, look, we're all just trying our best out here. I'd love to hear what people think. I'd love to hear what y'all have discovered in parenthood, what you've learned, what you've changed, challenges you've overcome. Especially more experienced parents, please tell me. Tell me how you overcame a really big challenge with your kids. Tell me how you changed a negative habit you have with your children. Tell me some of the lessons you learned. Tell me some of the things that really worked for you and some of the things that really didn't. I want to hear. I want to learn all the parenting things because I have the rest of my life to parent my children. My mom always says you only have your children as long as you're alive, and I like that saying because people are always like, oh, I got 18 years of this. Like, no. Like, literally, I go to my mom about stuff all the time still. Your kids will be your kids until the day you die, so you may as well try to have like a really healthy, solid relationship with them because literally lifelong contract. So I've had this rash under my eyes, mostly under my left eye, but a little bit under my right eye too, for the last like 2 months. I really hoped it might go away by now, but it's not going away. I've had it in the past. I had it one time 2 years ago, and it did last at least a couple of months, I remember, but then it went away. I don't exactly know what I would have changed that made it go away, or if it just went away, but I'm just hoping that this will go away soon. Just weird, it just like changes a little bit every day. There's new patches every day, and it's just like a splotchy rash. I look effing tired. I am tired. I'm always tired. Thyroid disease. I loved baking when I was growing up, and we used this cookbook to make everything. It's a super nostalgic and has tons of like really classic, foolproof recipes in it. It's not specialty diet friendly, but some of the recipes are fairly adaptable. I will use the pumpkin pie recipe on a regular basis. Every year I use the pumpkin pie recipe. All I do is just add coconut milk instead of condensed milk, and usually use like maple syrup or maple sugar as the sweetener, but everything else is the same. So very easy to adapt in that way. Some of the recipes are not as easy to adapt. I've been noticing this strange phenomenon where if I'm inactive, like I'm sitting around all day, my kids will sit around all day. But if I'm up doing things, my kids just are up and bothering me the entire time. So I'm finally putting away the dishes, and then like, oh my God. What was that? Is everything okay? Is there a mess? No. Yeah, so I really need to get dinner started too, and that sounds horrible right now because I feel very sick, and I don't really understand why I am sick. I was fine this morning, and then suddenly I became very ill. I became queasy. I started having a headache. I still kind of have a headache. I still kind of feel queasy. I feel crappy. I'm doing so much reflection right now and just thinking about my place in the world and where I am in the trajectory of my life, where I want to be, how I'm going to get there, what kind of person I want to be in the world. Oh my gosh, I'm reflecting. Every once in a while, like I'd say every like few months, I get like a little bit of lift, and I kind of feel like, wow, I think I can do this life thing. I think I can do it, maybe do it well. But then usually it's followed by like, you know, a low period of hopelessness and despair. But yeah, I don't like to get excited or optimistic because I don't like to be let down. So I want to tread lightly when I'm discussing my thoughts on this, because I don't want to, like, I've already been looking back at footage I have taken like over the last 6 months and kind of feeling like, ugh, like rolling my eyes at some of the things I was saying, because I just feel like I just see myself on this roller coaster, and you know, that's pretty much normal, I'd say. Like, you know, life is a bit of a roller coaster, but I just feel like mine is like this, you know, and I'd really rather it be kind of like this, you know, less dramatic, you know. I'm just really reflecting about how I feel. I find myself so often being envious and jealous and bitter when I see people in life having the things that I so desperately want, and I really don't want to be living my life like that. And I really do believe that it's impacting the opportunities that will come to me in life. If I have more grace and love and empathy and kindness in my heart, I really do believe that better opportunities will come to me, and you can't really manufacture it. So, and what I mean by that is, like, I can't fake it. Like, I can't fake being those things and hope that I'll get the rewards from it. I can't do it for the sake of being rewarded for it, is what I'm saying. That's a motivator for me. Like, if I were to, you know, have a better outlook in life and be more like community oriented and less like self-serving, I do think that I would be rewarded for that. But I have to genuinely feel those things, and I am really trying to reflect and understand why I have so much bitterness and so much resentment for people who have the things that I want in life. and I can't be happy for them. I commonly feel like they don't deserve it. And that's just not for me to say. And I don't mean everyone. There are people who I believe deserve good things in life. But there'll be some people like that I know, and they'll get the thing that I desperately want. I'm not even talking about tangible like stuff. I'm talking about accomplishments, milestones, experiences. I see people having those things that I desperately want, and I just feel like pissed, resentful, bitter. And I just know that having bitterness in my heart is not going to benefit me in the long run. I've been like this like my whole life. I've always felt on the sidelines. I've always felt left out. Why not me? You know? I mean, it's pathetic. I don't even like to say it out loud. It feels really gross. It feels icky. I'm just being real. Like, that's how it has always felt for me. Like, oh, why can't I have that amazing experience that someone else had? Or why don't I have the money to buy a nice, beautiful house with beautiful property? Why don't I have good health like so many other people have? Why can't I be an athlete? Like, literally, I've always wanted to be a freaking athlete. I'm not athletic. I don't have the health or stamina to be an athlete. I just desperately would love to be an athlete. I know it's bizarre. I'm just being real. Like, this is the stuff that gets me down. My husband's calling me. Every single time my husband gets off the phone with me, he says, I love you. And I say, I love you too. And he goes, love you too. Every single time. Love you. Love you too. Love you too. I'm not complaining. I actually love it, but it's just funny to me. It's every single time. It's like, it's one of his little quirks, and he has lots of really enjoyable little quirks like that. It's funny because I got on the phone to him and just immediately started talking about all those same things I was reflecting about. You know, he was telling me not to compare myself to other people, compare our life to other people's lives, and of course he's right. I think most people relate to this to some degree, but I just feel like for my whole adult life, really for my whole life actually, but I've been like longing for like these experiences that I see other people having, and just feeling like I'll just never get it. And I just still feel that way. I just still feel like we're not living our life. I feel like life is just passing us by, and we're like just barely getting through each day. We're in survival mode. We're just still in survival mode. And I just feel like, are we ever gonna be in a thriving state? That really weighs on me a lot. I always just feel like I'm gonna die having had no meaningful experiences. That's so not correct. I've had a lot of meaningful experiences. Anyway, I'll get back to these thoughts later. My husband's home. Anyone else out there have like kids who don't like to eat? I do not understand it. I love to eat. I feel like most people love to eat. My kids don't. They want to never have to stop what they're doing for anything, including eating. They don't care about eating. Y'all, I gotta say, I don't like toot my horn about a lot of things, but I am like way good at making grilled cheese. It's a grilled ham and cheese for my daughter. Honestly, like, I'm in a really dark place right now. I don't even know where to start. I've been in darker places, but I am in a dark place right now. Basically, I just feel like trapped, and I feel like I'm being crushed. I always have this feeling like I'm falling from like a really tall building, and I'm just waiting to hit the ground. Like, I'm not trying to be dramatic. That's just like how it feels. It feels like I'm powerless. It feels like things are going in a bad direction, and I'm just kind of along for the ride. I don't want to have that perspective in life. I do feel like that's a really kind of victim mentality perspective that I don't want to have. My health's just so bad, and every day is just such a struggle, and it's just hard to have a positive outlook, honestly, a lot of the time. Sometimes I do. Like, I've been, editing this like year-long vlog. I've been making a vlog for the whole year, for almost the whole year. I've been making a vlog since March. Like, it's kind of hard to go back and watch, to be honest, because there are times during this year where I have felt very optimistic and I felt good. And it's disappointing to see that there was not much to be hopeful for, but it's possible there's still things to be hopeful for. I should have a lot of life ahead of me, although really, and I really am not trying to be dramatic, but truly I feel like I'm dying a lot of the time. And what I mean by that is I feel like my body is basically dead, and I'm propping it up and trying to get it to do stuff. And I really am not trying to be dramatic. That's just literally how it feels. It really feels that challenging to just like function and be alive. And tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and have literally zero plans for the holiday. And, you know, I just struggle with, you know, the whole thing with food and holidays, because I just can't eat like the normal shit you eat at holidays and the kind of shit that I love to eat at holidays. So it's just kind of depressing a lot of time. The expectation of what the holiday looks like is not what my holidays have looked like in the last few years, and it's just kind of a bummer. And also it's just like not what I want in terms of experience. Like I would love to do like more of like a friendsgiving type thing most of the time. I don't know, I grew up in a big family, and I think I just really mourn that feeling of like having everyone gathered for like, you know, for one event and everyone being really like plugged in and enjoying it and stuff and being present with each other. That just like hasn't happened for me for many years now. Since I have a big family, like all of my siblings have built their own families and now they have holidays with their families. Some of our family doesn't live here in the same town, so we like don't spend a lot of time together. Just a bummer. The whole thing's just kind of depressing, to be honest. This is just like a really sad, stupid monologue I'm giving here. Since I've been making this dumb vlog I've been making for the whole year, since I've been like editing it and like looking back, it's just kind of like I said, it's just getting me thinking like I've already felt this roller coaster effect in my life where I never trust that the climb up is going to lead to some kind of plateau or another ascent. I always feel that the climb is going to be followed by a drop. That's just kind of my pattern in life, and I really have been thinking very seriously about how much my perspective impacts my reality, and I don't want to be trapping myself in a series of negative outcomes because of my bad perspective. But I have also had times when I genuinely felt optimistic and excited and was still let down, and I just have a really hard time wanting to allow myself to get fooled, I guess. But at the same time, it's not really any worse than just expecting to be let down and then being let down. That kind of just like, that actually really sucks too. It doesn't really feel better to be let down when you're expecting to be let down. It still feels laying on my towel right now because I recently found out that I have like literally zero curve in my neck, and I have a lot of pain and some like mild disc degeneration. So my chiropractor told me to lay on this towel every day. So that's what I'm doing, plus some other exercises that my physical therapist has me doing. I was just laying here thinking about my biggest lesson this year and what I want to take into the new year. And the biggest thing I think I've kind of overcome for myself this year, not completely, but I've come a long way, is being totally honest with people. It's pretty like embarrassing to say out loud, but like my whole life I've been scared to be honest with people, and so I've been the kind of person who will make up stories, not like for fun. I mean, like when I feel like I'm in a position where I'm very vulnerable and I either don't want someone to be mad at me, or I don't want them to think differently of me or disappoint someone. So I've always been the kind of person who will cover my ass or tell a story or try to make something feel softer, or just to avoid hurting someone's feelings or making them upset with me, or, you know, disappointing them. People pleaser stuff, but like really toxic. I felt for a long time that I have things to feel so guilty about, but I couldn't really pinpoint like why I feel so guilty all the time, and why I feel like I don't deserve good things, and why I kind of feel like I'm a bad person. I think most people who know me would say, you're a good person. Like, why do you think you're a bad person? And I think this is why. Like, I've been someone my whole life who is too scared to tell the truth and to
face uncomfortable interactions. And so I've always just like sneaked around the truth to avoid discomfort. And I've really come a long way with that this year. I've had like multiple situations come up where it would have been so easy to just weave some kind of tale and explain away an uncomfortable situation with someone, but I've practiced really intently on just being totally honest with people, even when it's really uncomfortable or even kind of vulnerable or embarrassing. Like when I have to admit I've done something wrong, like I've made a mistake, or when I have to explain, that I'm really dysfunctional and I can't be relied upon, things like that that I'm very ashamed of. Like I want to be reliable to people and trustworthy, but I realize now I've been sabotaging myself in that way because I've been not trustworthy. I've been covering my ass and lying, and not anything extreme. Like I don't tell like some big extravagant lies that implicate other people or could ultimately harm someone or something like that. But I've just always been someone who wants to avoid discomfort. So I'm 34 years old and just kind of barely overcoming this. And it feels really good. Like the thing is, it's really embarrassing to talk about because I'm 34 and just overcoming this, but I'm starting to feel more peace within myself by being honest with people. Go figure. I'm kind of thinking I'm starting to understand why I have that deep feeling of guilt and shame, and why I feel like I have this like inherent self-hatred. Anyway, I don't know what else to say. I guess just that when you're honest, there's no potential for things to come back on you or for someone to find out that you lied and then distrust you. It's extremely simple, but for some reason it has been something extremely challenging for me to overcome. Maybe it's a feeling of not trusting that people are going to forgive me or accept me for making mistakes or not being reliable. Obviously, it's very ironic because the alternative is that someone could find out that you've been dishonest and unwilling to tell the truth, and then they may not accept you for that, rightfully so. It's weird how these kind of protective behaviors form, but they're really self-sabotaging. I want to just not be so focused on myself. I think I am really ultimately pretty selfish. That's the weird thing about being like a people pleaser, is it's actually kind of just like self-absorption because, I'm worried about people not liking me. I'm worried about people being mad at me, not accepting me, when really I should just be focusing on other people and other things outside of myself more. And I feel like I'm not even ready to like talk about this or face it, but I like literally can't even say the words, but my mother-in-law passed away yesterday evening. And my husband didn't tell me for many hours because I'm alone with the kids here while he's gone, and he knew I was busy with making dinner for the kids and getting them ready for bed and doing bedtime and everything. And I appreciate him protecting me in that way because it actually really would have derailed my whole night. But it was hard for me to learn later that she'd already passed away. I knew it was gonna happen. She was so completely just run through the ringer. She was in such misery, and I knew it was coming, but I still feel shocked by it. I mean, really the whole process of us finding out she had cancer and her health completely declining was so fast that it's hard to process it completely and to know that now she's gone. It can't have happened like that, but it did. I'm just really glad my husband could be with her, but I also know that it's been so hard on him, and I don't know how he's gonna like recover. I can't imagine losing my mom right now. And yeah, she's not even my mom, but she's so important. She was so important to our family. And yeah, I loved her dearly, and I have a lot of guilt about not seeing her more in the last few years. We had no idea she would get sick like this, but you never know when someone's gonna get sick or die suddenly or anything. You just don't know, and I have a lot of regret about not seeing her more. It really wasn't a conscious choice to not see her. We had so many restrictions. Like up until last year, Casey was a student for 3 years, and so we had like no money, and the children were really, really small, and it's just a lot. We've just been kind of in survival mode for many years now, but it just feels like there's no excuse because life is short and the people around us are precious, and I'm gonna try not to let the guilt weigh on me too much because I just want to focus on the times we did see her and how lovely those visits were. But I wish we could have spent a lot more time with her. One of the weirdest things that has happened since my husband's been out of town is that I don't know if I've been coping with productivity. That's very unlike me. Usually I'm pretty much like disabled by like overwhelm and like emotionally taxing situations. But I've been a freaking machine this like the last few days. I'm working, and not like in like a frantic kind of way or anything, like or an anxious kind of way. I'm just working. I'm working all day, every day. I've been working. I've been keeping my house clean. I've been doing all my chores. I've been like kind of taking care of myself. I'm doing it all. It's really unlike me. And so I have to wonder if this is a gift from my mother-in-law. Maybe that's silly, but she was someone who was a machine. She was just the kind of person who just was always busy. So I wonder if she just left me this gift of a little bit of extra energy or something. Or it's not even just energy really, because I don't even like feel better than I usually do. I don't know, I'm just motivated. Everything feels doable. A lot of the time things feel completely insurmountable to me. Like there's no way I can muster the energy, or like I'm just stuck, or I don't know. I can't explain it, but there's always so much to do. There's always so much to do. I just don't understand how there's always so much to do, but I'm just grateful that right now I feel capable of doing it all. It's really, really, really unusual. So I have to feel like there's some gift from my mother-in-law here or something. Just really thinking about the new year upon us and what my intentions are for the year. When we have this time of year that like forces us to slow down, although I know society does not, in fact, society puts us in hyperdrive, but nature puts us in a slowed down state. And I think it's important for us to take advantage of that and not be busy and just reflect and focus on what's important. And especially I'm feeling that way obviously right now with the loss of my mother-in-law, and like really, you know, it's a really reflective time in general. But I think it's everything. It's kind of like the timing is kind of crazy that all this has happened, because it's already like, yeah, we're about to move into this new house. The New Year's coming. My mother-in-law just passed. It's like, I don't know, it does kind of feel like the end of one chapter and the beginning of the next in a good way. And I hope that we'll make the most of it, because, you know, my husband keeps saying that we need to live in his mother's honor, and I couldn't agree more. That the fact that she died so prematurely in life makes me feel like we owe it to her to live our lives to the fullest in a way. So that's kind of one of my focuses going forward.